What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are having a great day today. Stephen A. Smith talking about my man Pete Hegseth. Hey,
let's get into it, bro.
Let me get to my next subject. That's Pete Hegseth, the new Secretary of Defense for the United States of America. Hegseth was confirmed in a vote mostly along party lines, with 51 senators voting in favor of him and 50 against. 3 Republicans, including Mitch McConnell, broke with the party to oppose the Hegseth nomination. That forced Vice President J.D. Vance to cast the tie-breaking vote. Hegseth was sworn in on Saturday to lead the Department of Defense despite a myriad of allegations against him that included sexual misconduct, public intoxication, and financial mismanagement. Couple of things to get out the way first. Financial mismanagement, okay, sexual misconduct. We've heard those allegations before, and we know who we've heard them about. That would involve the now president of the United States of America, the 47th president of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump. So clearly, the standards have been lowered. The standards have been lowered. Because obviously, if he's in office and now Hegseth is in.
well, it wouldn't be so bad if people didn't constantly accuse people of being a Nazi, constantly accuse people of sexual misconduct, constantly accuse people of things that they're overstating things at this point. So when people say these types of things and they're trying to be venomous, it's just not as effective as it used to be. Now, whether that's true or not, that's a whole different conversation.
In office, it's not something that a vast majority of American citizens, particularly those who voted for Republican, care to discuss or even think about. They're beyond that. Now, a lot of you are going to be out there and you're going to be, lamenting the fact that they didn't care. But that's how it goes. Because you see, all of this kind of stuff has been going on in politics for quite some time. Bill Clinton, he was accused of some things. Liberals didn't care. Okay. All of us cared during the primaries and stuff like that when it happened to Gary Hart, former presidential candidate, or John Edwards, former presidential candidate. On both sides of the aisle, we've seen this kind of stuff all the time. If you think people are going to care to the point where it's going to dissuade them from voting from their candidate in a binary system where you got to choose between one or the other, it's not going to happen. Which brings me again to the Democrats on Capitol Hill during the whole confirmation hearing. If you're Tim Kaine or anybody else, what were you focused on? If you Adam Schiff or somebody else, what were you really, really focused on? You just look at some of these things and some of the fights that you're willing to fight, and you're just wondering, how tone deaf can you be? Because it's not like it's the campaign trail anymore. The president is in office. His selection for Secretary of Defense is Pete Hegseth. And if you don't want him in there, if you don't want him to get confirmed, you know what you do? How about attacking his resume? Because there's no one who can refute that his resume is worth attacking. I am quite sure that he has served this country honorably. You saw soldiers and other military officials.
I'm on the side of Pete Hegseth, but if I was going to attack him, that's exactly what I would attack him on, as opposed to what they're actually going after him on. And that's why they ended up losing.
In attendance, endorsing his confirmation. Obviously, as a soldier who served in Afghanistan, if I remember correctly, along with other places, and has served honorably, his service to our country cannot be denied. So we ain't going there. I'm just talking about his resume, the ability to be a leader of over 3.5 million people in the Defense Department. This is national defense. And this brother's resume involves him being a host on Fox News. By the way, over the weekend, not even during the weekday. I'm on TV more than him. But somehow, some way, that qualified him in Trump's eyes to be the secretary.
Yeah, but you know what? Stephen A. Smith is overstating this in the idea of he is on TV more than Pete Hegseth, but Pete Hegseth actually has been to war. Pete Hegseth has actually been in combat situations. Stephen A. Smith has not been in combat situations. And the idea that Stephen A. is trying to make this about that really shows me like he has no idea what he's actually talking about in this situation.
Secretary of Defense, because of his military background, because of the fact that he's obviously a patriot in their eyes. Should be in all of our eyes because he has served our country. We should feel that way about
That's
any of our
facts.
soldiers who serve honorably, by the
That's
way.
facts.
You combine all of that with the fact that he's loyal to Trump and he spoke out against a lot of what his predecessor, Lloyd Austin, and others were doing with the Defense Department over the last 4 years. You can see what Trump's agenda is. My position is, look, y'all, it is what it is. Look at his resume. If you attack his resume, there's nothing anybody could say. Because all you're saying to him is that, excuse me, if you were the president of the United States, would you pick you to be the Secretary of Defense if your previous job was hosting a show on the weekends on Fox News? And you had never led a department, let alone one with 3.5 million people answering to you? That should have been the focus. It wasn't.
I think Stephen A. is off his rocker on this and the idea of Pete Hegseth has actually been to war, actually been in combat areas where there's fire being shot back and forth. Stephen A. Smith is oversimplifying this. We should have people in positions in the government that actually have been in war situations. That'll deter us from going to war in the future. It's very easy to want to go to war if you've never been in it.
Because you had liberals on Capitol Hill that wanted to bring up financial mismanagement, public intoxication, and allegations of sexual misconduct when his boss has the history or the documented history that's been on the books for years. And you actually thought that was going to work. It's almost like you never learn. Y'all never learn. Let me move on to something more important to me anyway. The Tuskegee.
All right, guys. So there you go. Stephen A. Smith is once again commenting on something he does not know anything about. You know, it's pretty crazy to me to watch people that have never been in the military, never one day spent fighting against a foreign enemy, never spent one day putting their own life on the line, never spent one day doing anything that was outside of their own self-interest, taking and actually judging another human being. You know, I got mad love with Stephen A. Smith, but in this particular situation with Pete Hegseth, he is completely off his rocker. He is wrong. Stephen A., if you see this, I just want to let you know, got mad love for you, but you are 100% wrong on this. Hope you guys have a blessed day. Take care. One love. You watch your own Nick Java podcast. Like, comment, subscribe to this channel. Guys, be safe.